Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Atlantic CIL podcast. I'm here with my new friend Lisa, and we're going to talk about a topic we haven't discussed, which is travel and disability and sort of what that involves. I know a lot of people with disabilities want to travel, but it's different for us. So it's nice to talk to somebody who has some experience working in that area. Lisa, say hi to everybody.
Hi, how's everyone doing today?
Yeah. So, Lisa, tell us about yourself and kind of what you do. Give us some background.
Okay. I am an occupational therapist. I have been one for more than 30 years. I've worked in lots of different areas, but a majority of my work has been with adults. It's 2 years now. 2 years ago, I was kind of looking for something different than traditional healthcare because the healthcare system is just not what it used to be. My goal is to help people, and the healthcare system sometimes is a little bit more focused on money, and that gets frustrating. So, I
Right.
was looking for something to still use skills, but just different. And I stumbled across another occupational therapist who she was a travel agent, and she was specializing in accessible travel. So I kept thinking about it for a while, and then I reached out to her, and then I took the leap and I started to do that.
That's awesome. So, can you define what accessible travel is? Like, what does that mean, and how is it different between what's the difference between what you do and what a regular travel agent would do?
So for accessible travel, with my skills as an occupational therapist, I can still use those skills in helping people that have special needs when they're traveling to make sure that they have a good experience. And that can be anything from, a physical disability to, an autistic child to someone with PTSD, with someone that's blind, maybe anything, any issues whatsoever. We do the research to make sure that the accommodations are going to work for that person, that if they're interested in different excursions or experiences, that it's going to be possible for them to do that. Yeah, I'm
That's
sure lots
awesome.
of people with disabilities have, tried to go on a vacation before and thought that they could do something and it didn't work out right? Got to a hotel room and you can't get out of the bed, or the shower is not good, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
So that's
and
our job.
for me, I didn't even know that. I mean, and I know a lot of things, but I didn't even know that this was a thing because a lot of times I know that as somebody with a disability, that's all you think about is like, if I go somewhere, what's it going to be like? Is it going to be the right environment? Because the worst thing is to spend money and then not be able to participate in the things that you thought you were going to be able to participate in, or not have the hotel that you wanted and that accommodates you. So you take care of all that. And could you go, are there limits to where people can go, or do they go, the
I mean,
country?
you can go
What are the
anywhere.
parameters?
You can go anywhere. I mean, I can help you book a trip anywhere in the world that you want to go. That being said, of course, there are going to be times when some excursions or something just plain might not be possible. I have a sister-in-law that has MS, and she is having me book her a vacation to Iceland with her two adult children.
Right.
And, in Iceland, there's a lot of hiking and there's things like that. And she's not going to be able to do that. But we're going to see what things she can participate in and what she can't, and make sure that the accommodations are good for her and that she can have an enjoyable vacation as well as her kids.
That's awesome. And how does your background as being an occupational therapist and OT, how does that help you? Because I think that personal experience with people with disabilities can be very helpful. I had OT when I was in school. So, you're forced to just know about all types of disabilities and all types of challenges that come with having certain disabilities and how to accommodate that. So, do you think it helps you, and how does it help you?
Oh, of course it does. Yes. I mean, and that's the thing that really brought me into this because, of course, I paid a lot of money to go to school to become an OT, and I'd like to continue to use those skills. So, a lot of people, an average person that's never had any experience with someone with a disability doesn't understand the challenges. Where doing what I do home care now. And I see these challenges all the time. People have something happen to them and now they can't get in or out of their house. Things change. And that's part of my job, is to help them to be able to maintain their independence as best as they can. And sometimes that requires, some changes, different heights of beds, different doorways, all those kind of things. So I'm already kind of in tune to that. And there's actually, so accessible travel, I think, is more of a relatively new thing. I'm seeing more and more things pop up because social media listens to you. So if you're searching certain
Yes.
things, then that's all you get. So I'm seeing more and more things about that. But the problem is that people that don't understand think, oh, well, it's ADA, so
Right.
it should be fine. And that is not the case at all. ADA is not helpful for a lot
Yeah.
of people. I mean,
Correct.
let's be realistic. Wawa
Correct.
says they're ADA accessible because they have the sticker on the door outside that says if you're in a wheelchair, ask for help. But how are you supposed to ask for help if you're outside? So,
Yes. Well,
but
yeah.
that's acceptable. So that
Right.
doesn't help you.
No,
So
you're speaking my exact language of
exactly. So
what
it
we
goes way
talk about.
beyond what someone considers ADA.
Yeah, what we say at ADA, for those of you that don't know, the Americans with Disabilities Act, most people who are listening to me do know. But
Yeah,
it's, as Lisa just said, it's really the bare minimum of
agreed.
requirements. And people don't think about that. My joke is always, as long as you have one curve cut to get somewhere, it's an ADA accessibility. But like the curve cut could be like way far away, and it's like I
Correct.
always joke
Yeah,
that as long as people with disabilities enter from we're only allowed to enter from one area. So yeah, I think that's really important for people to understand. I'm glad you understand that. Like just because
yeah,
I'm sure you call places all the time and they go, "We're ADA accessible," and you have
right.
to ask like, "What do you mean?
Exactly,
What do you
exactly.
mean?"
And I'll give you a perfect example. I had a patient that I was seeing for in home care business. There wasn't a travel thing, and they had a family member die. And he was a very tall man, and he had a hip replacement. And they wanted to go to a funeral in like the Philadelphia area. And the wife booked the hotel herself. And I, gave her some pointers and said, make sure, get the handicap accessible room and all that. Well, they went to the room and it had a low bed and a roll-in shower. Well, he's like six something,
Mhm.
6 foot something. He couldn't get up from that bed, and he
Right,
didn't bring a wheeled shower chair, so the shower
right,
was useless.
right.
So they had to move rooms. And that's what they considered was, oh well, it's handicap accessible. That's okay. No, it's
Right.
not okay. It's not the same. People just don't get it.
Right.
You
They
know.
think they think if it works for one person with a disability, it works for like the whole population.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. And that's just a simple example. Something as simple as that. Like they just needed to go to a funeral of all
Right,
things, and here, I think they had to move rooms like 3 times to find something that actually worked for them. And in the
right.
end, I don't even think it was as good as it should have been.
And I think what you're speaking to is like one of the reasons why when you said it seems like a new thing, I think that's so cool and so true because a lot of people with disabilities probably just figured they just won't go to certain places. Like it just
Agreed.
and now it's good that now it's becoming sort of a business model, which is a good thing that, because
Yes.
there's a big part of the population that would like to go places and
Agreed.
and
Yes. We
don't.
say that everyone should be able to travel. Just because you have a disability doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to see the world. You should absolutely be able to see the world. And I
Yes,
think that in general, people are catching, like even the industry in itself, not just the
yeah.
travel agents. Kind of comical too. My brother and he just took his kids to Iceland and Ireland, and I saw something that his son-in-law posted, and I still don't have the background history as to why, but he posted a video of the men's bathroom in, I think, Iceland, and it was handicap accessible. And of course, to me, I'm like, awesome, that's great to know. Let me jot that down somewhere. They're starting to notice. You're starting to see more when I'm researching rooms and things. There's almost always an accessible option, and a lot of times there's one for hearing impairment, one for
Right.
visual impairment, one for physical. So they're getting there. I think there's still a long way to go, but at least they're noticing now. Hey,
Correct.
we haven't been doing the right thing so far.
And I think it speaks to advocacy because I think also people are starting to demand it, which businesses take notice of. Like
I agree.
they're starting to say like, no, it's actually not like, no, I do want to see the world and I do want to go where I want to go, just like
Right.
anybody else. So no, like we need to be able to figure this out. So I wanted to ask, what is the process of if somebody's interested in contacting you, what do you how does it get set up? Do they call you and you say, "Where do you wanna go?" Or do you pick a place? Like, how does it go?
No.
How
Yeah,
does
they
it
can
work?
call me or email me. Usually, what I'll do is send them a form, ask them some basic questions, where you'd like to go, how many people, when you want to go, what you want to do, that kind of thing. If you have a specific destination in mind, or if you just say, I want to go somewhere warm in January or whatever the case may be.
Right.
And then I'll ask more questions about what kind of special needs you might have. What are your concerns with this vacation? And then I will go from there. And we go back and forth and talk about different things. And then I would start the research and offer options. And, we go from there.
Oh, that's great to know. So they don't even have to have a real clear picture of where they wanna go. They can say,
No, you'd be
"I want"
surprised how many people just say, I just want to go away.
right, right.
Makes my job a little bit more challenging, but that's
Right, right.
okay.
Right, right.
That's okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that especially for people with disabilities, again, some of them may be used to just not going, and so they're like,
Agreed.
"I don't,
Yes.
I didn't even know this was an option."
Yeah.
Again, I'm finding this out kind of in real time that this is even
Yeah. Yeah.
a thing, and I'm in the field and I like know this stuff pretty well. So
Right.
I'm glad it's out there. Well, how does I know a lot of people I serve are gonna ask, how does payment work? Like, how does that work to pay for your services? Is it included in the cost
Okay,
of the
good
trip?
point. I'm glad you brought that up. I always forget to mention this, but
Yes.
so travel agents are free. It doesn't
Okay.
cost you anything extra to book with a travel agent. Yes, there are some that charge fees. I do not. We get paid by the hotels, the cruise lines, the rental car companies. There's a commission that's already built into the prices. And if you don't use a travel agent, then you're leaving money on the table. They're keeping the money. So
Oh,
if you book a cruise and you do it on your own, then, Virgin Cruises or whatever gets more money for themselves instead of
oh,
somebody else getting it. Yeah. It's
see,
not like you get a discount. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't I'm learning every day. So you're really not doing yourself a favor by not using a travel
Not at
agent.
all. I mean, the person that owns Expedia also owns another large agency, and he's like a multimillionaire. So if you book through him, he's the one making the commission.
Right,
So you're
right,
making
right.
this rich guy richer,
Well,
you know?
I
Yeah,
think we should spread that around a little
I
bit.
agree. And I'll be honest with you. I've traveled not extensively, but I've been around a bit, and I never used a travel agent in my life because I always thought it cost more money. And
Right.
then
Well,
when I started looking into this, I was like, oh, I didn't know that.
that's good to know because, like you said, that I could see that being a barrier right away to people. But that is great to know. And how long have you been? Are you glad you made the career change? Have you been enjoying it? What were you kind of nervous about, and what were and some challenges, and then what? How did it play out?
Of course, you're nervous with any change. I'm still doing my day job, but I am decreasing the amount of time that I do that. I'm trying to increase the travel. I love it. I love being able to help people plan vacations for disabled or not disabled. It doesn't matter. It's fun. The biggest problem I find is that when I do research for someone for a trip, then I want to go there. So I have this long bucket list that keeps getting longer and I need more time and more money to be able to go to all those places. But I think it's a great thing. I love being able to help people. That's why I became an occupational therapist. And doing the accessible travel really does help people. And with something that I think is really important, I think travel is just one of the best things in the world that you can do. I mean, it's such a wonderful experience to see other places and to create memories that you'll have forever.
Right, and it's good for people with disabilities to build confidence and to build independence
Oh, absolutely.
and to understand that like there's no reason not to if it's something you want to do. And
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. And I noticed, so, and being a travel agent, you tend to travel a little bit more too, because there are some perks that go along with being a travel agent. But I just got back from a cruise and I'm on the cruise. And of course, I'm looking at the handicap accessible bathrooms. And
yeah,
oh, look at that. Wow, that's great. That's really cool. That's a great, I actually took a video of the bathroom because I thought they did a very good job. And a lot of the things in the staterooms, they're accessible, that kind of thing. And it was great. Now, I did notice we did one excursion, and I do not think it could have been accessible. I did not ask them. It was like I snorkeled with sharks.
Yes.
So it would depend on your disability. I don't know
Right.
how you could get on the boat if you were in a wheelchair, and depending on what your issues are, whether you could get into the water or not.
Yeah.
So not
I haven't.
everything is possible.
Well, and that's where, as a person with a disability, when you're traveling, you have to advocate for yourself too, because
Agreed.
I know that even cerebral palsy, like somebody with cerebral palsy could be comfortable doing something, and other people don't. I always use the thing of driving. I'm not comfortable driving. I'm trying it. I tried it, wasn't my thing. And some people with cerebral palsy do drive. So you have to
Exactly.
also let a travel agent like Lisa know, like, no, that doesn't work for me. This is my level of mobility. This is what I'm comfortable with. This is what I do like to do. This is what I don't like to do. Like, if you don't want to go, you don't want to be signed up for rock climbing and never do rock climbing. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
gotta just. And one of the great things about talking to somebody who's an occupational therapist is she's probably heard it all anyway. So just
I've heard a lot. Yes.
just,
Yes.
yeah,
Doing this a
just
long time. Yes.
just
Yes.
say it how it needs to be said. One of the questions I had, because I know I would ask this, is what if, Lisa books a hotel thinking that it's accessible, and then that person gets to a hotel and it's not? Can they call you, or do they have to work that out with the hotel? Like, how
They
does those
can,
things?
I mean, it depends, yes, I can certainly absolutely try to advocate. Obviously, working with the hotel themselves directly is going to be the fastest because they're going to be able to fix things better than I can. But I would 100% call and advocate and try to work for them. But I would investigate the hotel myself prior to try to ensure that that wasn't going to be an issue. And and that being said too, like if you did go on a cruise and you wanted to go swim with the sharks, then I would find out if there is a way to do it.
Right, right, right,
I mean, that's what I would tell you honestly, like I would hate to see you waste your money on this because I just don't know that it's something that you could really do.
right.
Maybe we could try this instead.
Right. Because sometimes that's the conversation I have too. Like if you go to the person who's doing the swim with the shark thing, but maybe they say, I don't think this will work. And you talk that out, but maybe there's something they haven't thought of that you could do. So,
Exactly.
you just, I think don't let that scare you. I think
Right.
most people with disabilities know there's more than one way to do things. So,
Agreed.
like, kind of trust the process a little bit. Also, again, even though you have a travel agent, just be prepared to advocate for yourself, because Lisa could book something and people are people. People can say on
Hmm.
the phone, oh, yeah, we got this, it's fine. And then you can get there and it's not what they
Agreed.
promise. Like,
Agreed.
it's just the nature of kind of life. So,
Exactly.
just be
Yeah.
prepared to, speak up
Right.
for yourself too. If they promised, please say you would get an accessible room, but they don't give you an accessible room, make sure you say that. Like,
Right.
don't just assume that just because it's been taken care of, that it's been taken care of. You just got to keep in mind how life actually works. Maybe the person Lisa talked to a month ago left.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. It's
maybe,
exactly that could be the case. Yes.
maybe
Or you
they
have
left.
some new person there that just is not very nice.
Right, and
Yeah,
we all know
absolutely.
it as people with disabilities, it is about finding the right person a lot of times. You
Yes.
can find
Yes.
a great
Yeah.
person, and they're a lot more accommodating, and
Yeah.
so I'm just very glad the service is out there. In fact, I'm gonna look into it because, it's just there's so much of the world to see, and it's a great way to meet people. Do you have people with disabilities who just go on their own and travel?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, again, Facebook, I'm in a lot of Facebook groups and things like that. And there are some groups of people with disabilities that travel and they provide tips for one another and
Right,
things like that. So, yes, they definitely do. The advantage that I have is that there is a pretty large network of people I guess, on my team. So, I've worked primarily with adults. There's another woman she works with children, and she has a child that's autistic. And that's where some of this started. She wanted to take her kids to Disney World, and she had one autistic child, and the others are not autistic. So, how do you do that? And
right,
she figured it out. And now, so if obviously I don't know everything, but I have this team, and if something comes up and I'm not quite sure what the answer is, I can reach out to these other clinicians. Most of them are physical and occupational therapists, and say, hey guys, listen, I got this situation. So and so wants to go to this place. These are the issues. What do what are your suggestions? And they're more than willing to share and help. So it's not just me. You kind of get a whole team of people to help out.
That's awesome. And another thing I wanted to ask, I just thought of it, as somebody who has probably booked in a lot of countries and a lot of like, where do you think? And it's hard to answer because I'm sure you haven't been everywhere. But where do
Right.
you think America stacks up in terms of accessibility? As somebody who's kind of seen everything, have you been to when you book trips of people to go to Europe? Do you go, oh, we should be more like that, or
In some respects, yes. I mean, I saw a video where in England they have X number of cabs that are wheelchair accessible.
right,
Now that's starting to come here. There's the Uber wave, but it's not here. In the larger cities, there's things like that. I'm seeing that. I think United States is moving in the right direction, but very slowly, because
right.
everything that we do, of course, takes longer because it's got to go through I don't know how many channels.
Yes, yeah, we like a good. We'll do the right thing after we exercised all the other alternatives.
Exactly, and we have to
Um,
get approval from 12 different
it,
organizations. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
so
So yeah,
I think that's so important because it's also a good way. I know a lot of people who do advocacy listen to this podcast. It's a good way to learn about what other countries are doing, like get
yes,
into your bubble a little bit and see what we do right and what we could do better and what we could
exactly.
improve. Because I love how you start out this podcast by talking about people say all the time, "Oh, it's ADA compliant, so you're good." It's like
Yeah,
that is not
yeah.
the case. I
Not
mean,
at all. And Wawa, I think, is the perfect example. And I love Wawa, but that is it cracks me up every time I go to Wawa and I see that sticker. I go, you got to be kidding me! Like it makes
yes,
no sense,
yes,
But
that,
you know,
that is disability rights and disability policy in a nutshell. Ask if you need
yes,
help, but you can't get in the building to get help. That
right,
is
right,
how it works.
exactly. Yeah,
So I want you to you're gonna send me your information and we'll put your
sure.
information in the description of the podcast. Is there anything else you want people to know? I think this is a great service and a great thing for people to consider. But
I do
anything else?
too. I think, the only other thing to think about is that, it's not just the physical disabilities, there's also emotional, there's the
Right,
autism, there's all of those kind of things that we can help with as well. I know the kind of the founder of the people that I am with has an emotional support dog,
right.
and she actually had to sue a major hotel line, because they refused her dog. So there's advocacy for that as well. She's very knowledgeable on your rights with a assistive animal too. So those kind of things are important as well.
I think that is a great point and a great way to end it too. Disability is not just physical, it's mental health, it's traumatic
Correct.
brain injury, it's MS. So all those people are included in the community too. And all those people have certain accommodations they need as well. And
Absolutely.
I think a lot of times they have the challenge of they get pushed back because their disability is not always obvious. So
Correct.
it's like, oh, why do you need this? Why do you need that? Which you really don't have to explain, but you should know your rights and really like Lisa was talking about the founder. She knows her rights, and
Yes.
just because somebody says to you, "Oh no, we're not required to do that," doesn't make it necessarily true. So do some research
Exactly.
about where you're going to. What are the state laws like? What are the
Right.
what's that laws like in their country? There's so much information out there.
There is.
Lisa started this out talking about the algorithms and how much that can be important, but we should use it to our advantage. If we're gonna live in this
Absolutely.
world, let's instead of getting flooded with misinformation and negative things, let's like empower ourselves to do good things with it. So, um,
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it, Lisa. This was a great conversation. You got me thinking. You got me
Let me know where you want to go, Donald.
you
I'll be
got
happy
me
to plan your
thinking.
trip.
You got me thinking. So thank you everybody for another good episode and thanks for joining us, Lisa. Bye everyone.
Thank you.